Hey, I just wanted to jump in here today and just speak to you a little bit about what's been going on with me and my journey. Um, it's been quite a ride over kind of the last 7 months. I don't know, time is kind of a loop right now. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit about my journey and just about what's been happening and how this beautiful medicine of Kambo came into my life. And this kind of started pre-COVID with a dear sister of mine, a soul sister of mine, who has been a confidant. And we sat together in ceremony with some plant medicine back in January, which I had been utilizing and working with this medicine since 2011. So it wasn't a new journey, but this journey was a very intimate and very deep journey that took us both really to the edge of what we knew was possible. And through that, we found out that both of us were supposed to be working together and hosting ceremony. Spirit spoke very, very clearly about what was supposed to happen, and it was extremely intense. And so her name is Divine Sight. Some of you might know her. And so as we were just coming back from this beautiful journey, we continued to ponder what that looked like. And, didn't really know. And so, so as this journey happened, it was really after the plant medicine experience and the working with the plant medicine since 2011, and then the beautiful experience I had with Divine Sight, we just knew that there was more that Spirit was asking both of us to do together and independently to do this work with the plants. And with now, Kambo is an animal. It's a frog, so it's not in the plant medicine category. But I had been working with plant medicine for quite a while, and really felt like I needed to go to a whole nother level. And I also knew, just as my role in this life, that my role is as a space holder. And so that was really apparent all throughout the last 9 years of journeying. And I've had some really beautiful experiences with some really amazing women in our circles. And so then I didn't sit with any plant medicine or any ceremony that was psychedelic or any type of medicine work in 2019. I continued to do Reiki, which is one of my main medicines. Been a Reiki master teacher since 2010 and facilitating Reiki for myself and my family and others since 2000. And so that's been just part of who I am, who I was born to be, and working with the white light of the angels and Christ consciousness. And so this really amped it up a whole nother level as we sat together and came out of ceremony in January. And then just, continued to ponder what that looked like. And this was pre-COVID, so we didn't really know that was happening. And so, fast forward to March, I was hosting a women's retreat. And it's the Inner Goddess Retreat. I host spring and fall. A lot of my yoga teachers that are in my Yoga for Love online training program come in from all over the country. This is where they get to finally meet in person for the first time. This is where they get their hands-on hours. Like, everyone was super stoked, looking forward to it. There's other women that aren't in the program that are looking forward to meeting community and to really finding like-minded women. And so there was a lot of excitement coming in. And the week before the retreat, my daughter turned 17, and we held a family party. And it was like, are we supposed to social distance? Like, this kind of all this information starting to come in, but there was nothing really clear about what was going on. Like, it's like, what the fuck is going on? But nobody really knew. So it was just kind of like, okay, we're just going to hold this family party. Next weekend, I'm having the retreat. It was the spring equinox that next week. And leading up to that was all this information coming in from, the media and from the underground resources, and that, all this stuff is going to happen. Things are going to be shut down. We didn't know what that was going to look like. And so then there's all this conversation that started happening between my participants that were coming to the retreats. The ones that were guests were getting kind of upset, and the ones that were in my teacher training program were trying to hold space for them in the group chats. And, people were like, do I sleep in the same cabin? Do I have to go get a hotel? And there was all this stuff. Meanwhile, I was about to graduate some students. And so there was just a lot of wheels spinning, as well as, my daughter is in high school. She was still, functioning as a full-time student at the time. And so with all that being said, there was just all these things happening, and I was holding space for all that in a very loving way. And then things started kind of shifting energetically over the course of between the 13th and the 19th of March. And people started saying, I'm not coming to the retreat, or I really still want to come. Are you still having it? Are you going to hold it virtually? And I just was like feeling all this pressure. We had like 26 women coming. It was very full, which there's plenty of space here at the Yoga for Love Inner Goddess Retreat Center, but it was just a lot of people. So people started freaking out, right? And we didn't know what that looked like. So then I was taking my dog out. She's a puppy. She's like a 70-pound puppy, Pyrenees Husky. And she jumps off the patio, being completely disobedient. Right before I had a video chat with a client, I was going to do an angel card reading for her, because she decided not to come to the retreat. She just wanted to have a chat with me. And she jumps off the patio, wrenches my whole entire back, my sacral chakra, and my sacrum. The sacroiliac joint is actually two separate pieces. And I was in a car wreck years ago where it was like jolted. And so it's a weak point in my spine, and it jolted and it completely went out of alignment, and I couldn't stand up. I was bent over holding her leash going, oh fuck, I can't stand up. So I get her in the house, and I just, like an old lady, hunched over, walking, like, okay, what's going to happen? Am I going to be able to just breathe through this and expand my spine? I sat down in my office chair where I'm sitting right here to do the video chat. I drew some cards for her, which was also for me, which I didn't know at the time, which was dog medicine and turtle medicine. I did the reading. My pain continued to exacerbate. And by the time that I got off the video chat, I had to roll myself out of the office in my office chair and call my daughter. And I'm like, hey, I can't get out of my chair. Like, can you help me? And she was like, Mom, you're so overdramatic. Like, you're so extra. I'm like, no, this is real. Like, I totally can't stand. Call your dad. And so he came home. She wheeled me to my room, and I crawled onto my bed and just laid down. And by the time he got home, I was immobile, like totally couldn't move. It was crazy. Literally laid on my back like a turtle. And I was like, at that time, I have a retreat in 4 days. Whoa, okay, that's not going to happen. So I messaged my beautiful assistant, my team manager, Anna, and I was like, Anna, we've got to go virtual. Like, what does that look like? We've never done a full virtual retreat. And she gets to work on that with the rest of our staff members and our amazing team, Desiree and Amanda and Angela and Mia, and made it happen. And just, we laid out the schedule, and she just worked on that while I worked on my own being and disassociating myself from all of the stuff that was going on energetically, all of the people that were bombarding me. And Spirit was saying, lay on your back like a turtle, protect yourself, go within, pull your head into your shell. And Rich got me to the chiropractor. He basically had to lift me out of the bed And hey, VJ, oh, sweet brother. Hey, so good to see you. And so he got me to the chiropractor and had to help me out of the car. And the pain, I've given birth to 2 children without any drugs. And the pain was about the stage 3 of labor when you're pushing, like moving in the transition from stage 2 to stage 3. And that's where my pain was at. It was incredible. Like, I could not believe that much pain was coming from my back. It was ridiculous. And so she adjusted me, but she couldn't even do, like, some of you have been to the chiropractor where they do that little dolphin tail where they move your body. Oh, thank you. The little hearts. And I was like, she's like, no, we're not going to do that today. She barely even could do the adjustment. But I got through it, came back home, ate, went to bed, and in the middle of the night, I had to go to the bathroom. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to kick my feet over. Like, you don't think about these things. I could not move my feet. I couldn't scoot my hips to the side of my bed to get closer to the edge. I could not shift my hips. I was literally stuck like a turtle, stuck on my back, completely stuck, like immobile. And hey, Tiffany, oh, so good to see you. Yeah, and right at that same moment, that same weekend, Divine Sight's daughter turned 17. My daughter was 17. All these things were shifting in like alignment as a mother. And I decided, I really need to hold space for myself for my healing. I did another chiropractic session. I got to the chiropractor the next day, but to back up to the middle of the night thing, I just sat with it. I was like, well, I could wake him up and ask him to move me and help me to the bathroom. But I first of all didn't want to piss him off because I knew I was going to be completely dependent on him for 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I don't know. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to sit with it. I can hold it. I can just sit with it. So I just sat with the medicine, and it was several hours till dawn. And when he awoke, started stirring, I was like, hey, I need to get to the bathroom. And he's like, can you just not get up? And I'm like, no, I can't even move. And, he's like, you really can't move? And I'm like, no, I really can't move. And so he got me out of the bed, and my ego was like, oh, you can do this. And I tried to take a step, and I couldn't even bear any weight. I fell to my knees and my hands. I'm like, oh, I can crawl. So I just crawled to the bathroom, crawled to the closet, got my clothes on, crawled back to the bed. I mean, I was like, oh, okay, well, I could just crawl. I'm cool. And sat with it some more, sat with the medicine of the dog, which I really believe is one of my own personal totems. I just have so much dog energy. We have a pack of 5 dogs. And, I struggle with Athena, the puppy, to be alpha because she's also a female. But that's also the medicine that was coming. And the messages I was receiving was, hold space for yourself so you can hold space for your tribe. And so that happened. And I did the second chiropractic visit, and then miraculously, started healing, so quickly. It was crazy. The healing happened within another day. By Wednesday, this was on Monday, by Wednesday, the March 18th, I was mobile. It hurt, but I was flabbergasted because I received the message of the medicine that was supposed to be given. So then fast forward here to the next day, which was the 19th of March, right before the spring equinox. This was right before the shutdown of COVID, and nobody knew what was happening. So Divine Sight messages me, and she's like, I can't teach at the retreat. I have to shut my studio down, right now. Hey, Hollis, what's up? And I was like, yeah, something's going down. Energetically, something massive is happening in this earth. Like all of you know now, right? Was kind of know what's happening. We really, if you're tapped in, you have that energetic connection and you're like, yeah, shit's hitting the fan. Like seriously. So I just grabbed my big old Jeep Wrangler and ran up to Dallas and met her there. And we just start like unpacking everything. Hi, Stacy. I love you. And I love your new little people that you're making, your little poly clay people in addition to your orgonite pyramids. So we just start just packing shit up, man. Like, you know, it's like a 3,000 square foot space. Like, what do we take? I'm like, you take everything essential, like everything, you know? And so we just started taking everything. And as this process is happening, she's doing this massive processing of this portal closing because it was a very sacred portal. And it ended up being ceremony. Hey, Amy. And it was incredibly crazy. She had just turned 45. And then this huge, massive shift, like now it's time to close this space that's been held for Dallas, for the Dallas community, divine site. You know, it was a pillar in the community. And so we're like, you know, this is it. We have to make a decision and it's right now. And so it was a massive ceremonial closure. It was so intense. And as we wrap up all the things, we're getting more and more messages from people like, you know, the government is going to keep you at home. Like they're not going to let you go out and buy food. You know, who fucking knew we weren't going to have toilet paper, you know? And so we just started, like, we need to take everything out of the kitchen now too. Like we went and cleared, okay, now we need extra sugar. We need all the cleaning supplies, like get everything. Like, so then we just started like getting everything, including all of our medicine. And we're like, okay, you know, that was complete. And the very next day held a virtual retreat. And it was amazing. Like out of all the 26 women that were signed up, we had like 18 on the video chats for Friday and Saturday. It was so beautiful. And so that really transported my business into another realm. It also, I saw my team rise up and hold space. And it wasn't just me, like it was the ones who have always been there that are on my team, Yoga for Love, and they were holding space as well. And the women that were in our training were also, you know, showing up and holding space for the guests, you know, and like the interaction was so beautiful. I'll post some of those videos from our recordings from the retreat very soon here on my YouTube. And so all that, and then, you know, COVID like seriously hit. And I was so prepared, like I didn't even know. We had been creating our online teacher training program since 2015. I've moved my teacher training program to be completely virtual after a major house fire in 2014, which I'm not going to go into that whole story, but you can read my book, Yoga for Love Tools, look it up on Amazon for Mind, Body, Spirit. That is a whole another story. But so we went virtual completely in 2015, and we've been perfecting our program for 5 years. So Spirit had us like fully ready. Like we weren't just going to throw some PDFs up on Google Drive and call it a yoga school. Like we have a freaking college level course, you know, with a, you know, the Yale version of yoga schools. And we were like influxed with, I think we signed up like 11 people over the course of the next few weeks. Corona evolution. Yeah, absolutely. That's what it is. The Corona evolution, you know, like the crown is opening, and the crown is also being laid on our heads for us to hold the space. And so these women were like, they're coming into our program. Our coaches are rising up to hold space for these new women, in addition to like the 30 or 40 other people that are already in our program. And it was just this huge turnover. Like it just up-leveled everything. And so as all that was happening, Divine Sight and I were planning ceremony. Like, okay, we need to hold ceremony. What's that going to even look like through COVID? I mean, no idea. She got invited to actually co-host a ceremony. And then I got invited, well, I got called to bring in my next level of medicine, which was my shamanic drum. And Spirit was like, you need a drum. And as it always does when Spirit speaks, I just say, yes, you know, I'm obedient. Tell me who to contact. And I contacted Patricia Dancing Elk, who was a mentor of mine, is a mentor of mine, and she was one of the first women that came and held a energy healing and training in my old studio back in 2011. And so I messaged her and I'm like, Spirit told me to contact you. I hadn't talked to her for years. Okay. I messaged her on Facebook and I was like, Spirit told me that you were going to be making me a drum. And I've seen her off and on, like at festivals, like when I've been presenting, and she's had a booth or whatever. We had a booth actually next to each other at the Cosmic Yogi Fest last year. And we were just kind of like, hey, but we're super busy, you know, so you don't really get a chance to interact. And she's like, oh, I'd be so happy to make your drum. And she sent me some pictures and I was like, yes, that is exactly what I need. And so she asked me the 4 main power animals that I work with. And so I gave her the wolf and the hummingbird, the dragonfly, and the hawk. And she painted them on the drum. And right when kind of COVID was a little bit beginning to lift and like some shops were opening up at 25% capacity, for the restaurants and stuff, I was like, okay, I'm going to, I want to meet you and we'll just have some coffee. And she's like, yeah, I could just bring it to your house. I'm like, no, you know, I don't want you to have to drive all the way over here. Let's just meet. I need to get out of the house. And she's like, yeah, me too. Her husband has disabilities. And she's like, you know, I just want a little breather. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't been out of the house literally at all, which is normal for me anyway, because I run my business online. So it wasn't like any different for me. But so I met her at the coffee shop and she gives me the drum. And within like a few minutes of seeing her, she said, I'm going to go sit with ayahuasca in 2 weeks. And I said, okay, I'm coming. You know, it was like the next thing out of my mouth. And so 2 weeks later, we are sitting with the Divine Mother in ayahuasca with a beautiful women's circle up near Oklahoma. On the way up there, we're driving like Thelma and Louise, you know, here we are on this road trip. And we, being medicine women, were passing, and as we were going 70 miles per hour on this backcountry road with all the tall piney trees, we see a beautiful bird of prey on the side of the road and its wings. And we're like, did you see that? And she's like, yeah, did you see that? And I'm like, yeah, that was a vulture. And she's like, do you need any vulture medicine for your medicine bag? And I'm like, yeah, I think I do. And so we turn around. You can't make this shit up, okay? Turn around and see this beautiful bird that just got killed. Like, there was nothing wrong with him except for, you know, he was just laying there, you know, and I was like, we can't just leave him there. We have to pick him up. So she goes out in the brush and like grabs this bird by the feet and she's like, what do I do with him? I'm like, I have an apothecary bag, like a little bag from Enso Apothecary. Tamara was one of my yoga students. And so we stuck the bird in the Enso Apothecary bag and we're like heading back on the road, you know, and like driving down the road. And she's like, oh, I got to roll down the window. I'm like, it is rough in here. So she rolls down the window. She's like, Robert's a little stinky. So Robert is fumigating the car. He's not bad. It wasn't bad, but it was intense. I'll have to tell you that. And we roll up into the space where the ceremony is going to be held. It's this beautiful lodge. And it was used for hunting before. And so one of the places was like a metal building that was divided into rooms and a kitchen. And then the other one was a huge, like industrial size garage with a game room with a super like ornate bar, like totally like top notch. They went all out on the game room. And so we roll in and greet everybody, and I'm meeting the shaman that's holding the space, dear Lisa. And so I'm like, yeah, I've got to do something with this bird. And so I go rummaging through this huge ass garage, like, like double tier, like every tool imaginable. Apparently they just sold it as is, like all these tools are already stocked. I found an axe, lay out Robert on the ground and give him our honor for giving us his medicine, and just whoosh, chop off the wings. Just what I do, right? And so laying out the wings, let it dry in the sun, and Patricia comes and she takes the rest of the body and disposes it and gives it back to the earth. And I'm letting the wings dry, or just kind of set. And here comes like a huge thunderstorm, like not kidding, huge, full on lightning, full on thunder. And so I collect the wings, put them in a ginormous trash bag, and put them in the wine cooler, like the wine cellar, for the whole weekend of our ceremony. So literally we end up having ceremony in the space, in the game room, because of the weather. And the Vulture Wings were in there the whole time. So after 3 days of ceremony, leave, go back home. And there's a process for taking care of the wings. And if you want to know that process, just direct message me and I'll tell you what to do. If you require hawk or vulture medicine or any of the feathered friends in your medicine bag, medicine kit, you definitely need to process them correctly. And so they sat there for a few weeks to a month, and had a beautiful sister from ceremony come over a few weekends after I sat with ayahuasca, and we're continuing to plan the ceremony coming up, continuing to hold space for all these new women in the tribe, completely revamping our getting started in our program. So it's like super intuitive. Or owls, if you have an owl, because Divine Sight gifted me with a beautiful owl wing at our ceremony. But I'm jumping ahead of the story here. So I sat with a beautiful friend that I met in the ceremony, with the grandfather, San Pedro. That was a lovely integration after the weekend of such an intense weekend with the Divine Mother. And as I was sitting with the Divine Mother ayahuasca, it was my mother's 12th, it's the 12th year since she crossed over, and it was her birthday. And so that I just had so many confirmations and so much beauty and so much closure, and then just like this opening of this new gate as stepping in my power. It was like the second time I worked with Sananga, and as I worked with Sananga, which is the eye medicine, this power came through me that was not of me. It was of my ancestors and my lineage, and all of the women who have done this work before me, and this chant just came through. It was just like hiya, 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 and it was just like pulsing through my core of my being. And I just went outside and just chanted, and then sat with the medicine, and it was on the night of my mom's birthday. So that was super beautiful. And I've been working with the medicine called Hape or Rape since then, every day, as a commitment to working with the plants, to really getting to know the plant spirits and to ask permission to work with them. And it was through that I was told to work with Kambo. And again, I said yes. I don't know what that means. My husband's like, you're fucking crazy. What are you doing? Are you going to go travel off and go hit the road? Like what? And I said, no, I only know the next step. And the next step is this. And so as we were planning to hold ceremony for some amazing women, I said yes to doing the Kambo training. Through a couple different avenues, found the same teacher, through my dear sister, Crystal Love, who's also one of my students, and through my dear friend who was on my board for the DFW Free Day of Yoga, Tressa, ended up coming to the same teacher, Jess and Zach. And so I found Jess and Zach. And I was so grateful. And so I was like, oh, finally I have a teacher that's like in a body, like not on the other side. And, you know, through all my shamanic training, I did 3 years of shamanic training with Jimmy Terry. And, you know, she's such an amazing woman. And all my teachers, like my power animals, my teachers came through and they're all crossed over. And so I've always like heard people talking about their teacher or their guru. And I was like, gosh, that would be so nice to have a teacher that you could actually talk to, because I can't talk to my mom, can't talk to my dad, can't talk to my grandparents other than in prayer. And so I'm so thankful to have found Jess and Zach. And so jumping to the summer solstice. So here it is, the weekend that we've been waiting for, holding ceremony for all these amazing women. Some really crazy things had come through. Relationships were being severed. There was so much vikalpa, like there was a lot of chaos coming through, and I was able to just slice it like a knife, like just and cut through it. And I was like, this isn't mine. And people decided to move away out of my life. People decided to move in. And like all of these alignments just started happening and happening and happening and happening. I mean, just so many. And a lot of clearing, a lot of karmic clearing. And oh, yeah. And then the message of the hummingbird came through. I sat with Tressa for my inoculation. And the inoculation is basically 3 combo sessions within a moon cycle. And it's intense. I'm not going to lie. It's not for the weak-hearted. And literally, you can't sit with combo if you have a heart condition. So that's not a joke. But because it lowers your blood pressure. But there are 35 bioactive peptides that are in the combo medicine that the pharmaceutical companies are actually studying, because it is such a powerful medicine. So when I sat with it, I knew that it was, and I'd sat with it again previously on winter solstice, but it hadn't really been in my awareness that much since then. And so after I sat with it again on my inoculation, I was like, okay, this is a path. Like, it's 3 sessions, and I know that this is getting me closer to where spirit wants me to be. And so then we held ceremony that next weekend, I believe. I don't know. My timeline is all kind of wonky. Staying in the 3rd dimension, trying to look at things like a freaking calendar. Like, what does that even mean? And so, yeah, it was right before the summer solstice. We had some really weird chaos coming in. There was miscommunications. There was a lot going on planetary-wise. And so, yeah, that was all shifting. Oh, thank you. Yeah, ceremony weekend after. It was the weekend after the solstice. That's right. Because, yeah, that's right. Thank you for that. The trickster kept coming in. That was true too. Yeah, thank you for that reminder. So good that Divine Sight is on my YouTube live, giving me some of these recollections, because it's so much. But anyway, so as that was happening, we were very clear about the intention of holding a very sacred space and not allowing any inference in that divine portal that's being created for that connection to happen. And so the perfect number ended up showing up, and it ended up being 9, including myself and Divine that were sitting. And one really important piece that came through, and I'm not going to go into all the details in my ayahuasca downloads, but she gave me my spiritual name, which is Aiylah Valkyrie. Aiylah is my fairy name. It's always been my fairy name. Many of you who know me well know that my alter ego is a fairy. And even at my book launch, we all had wings. And but so Aiylah, I asked her, I was like, Mama, what's my name? And she says, Aiylah. And I said, hey, Brenda, so good to see you. And I said, Aiylah. And she's like, duh, it's what I've always called you. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Mother, but what's my second name? Like a little kid, like, just tell me my name, just tell me my name. And she said, look at the card you just drew, daughter. And I drew it, and it's the Valkyrie. And that's my Celtic and my Nordic roots. And I was like, oh, that's my roots. Those are my roots. So she gave me my name. And so as we're entering ceremony, I said, this is how I want to be known as a medicine woman. This is my name. And the magic that came forth, because Divine and I hadn't sat together in medicine since January, but the intention was so strong that spirit just moved through, and it was pure magic. And the women that were there really had just amazing experiences, and several women that were there, specifically my sister Denise, Moon Sky Fox, I believe is her spiritual name. She just got her spiritual name as well. And Barbara Cole were on either side of us at the altar space, holding really great space. Barbara brought her massive gongs. And at one point, the trickster kept coming in, the coyote. It was just little things that were keeping it light, but, because it would get so intense, and then these little things would happen. And at one point, Divine looks over, and I'm fully, like, in it, like, chanting and drumming and, like, all this stuff. And I look over, and she jumps over to Barbara Cole's mat, and they're, like, catching these humongous big ass gongs. The wind just picked up, and Barbara's like, she's only like 120 pounds. She's like holding this framework, like keeping the gong from touching the ground, like with all her might. And she was laying on her mat, so she couldn't do anything but just reach up. And Divine comes up and restores the gongs, and then they quickly pack them up. And we ended up, I was working with my Vulture Wings. So as that ceremony was coming to fruition, and she was called by the wind, like because Barbara barely said Divine, and she just, the wind took her attention over there and to go save those gongs. And those gongs are pure energetic magic, and she played and let us play with them the next day as part of our decompression and the day 2 of the retreat. And so we call the retreats the Divine Sight Inner Goddess Retreats, and we will be holding them again. Another one is on Labor Day. And so with that, it just, all these little funny things kind of kept coming in too, to keep it light, and then it would get just really deep and then really light. And the Vulture Wings, as I was finished, like, processing, if you can use that word, told me what to do with them. And so I had some pieces of an old purse that were made out of leather. I was like, I need leather. I need to make handles on them, because these are my wings, like, expansively from my Valkyrie. This is the energy that's coming in, and I need to dance with them. I need to flow with them. I need to use them in my work. And my dear sister that came over to sit with me after ayahuasca gave me a warning, Princess Cosmos. And she said, I hear, and your message is that be careful. This medicine is strong. And I said, well respected, I hear you, Vulture. And the Vulture just keeps coming. I mean, like, all the time, right over the crown chakra. Every time I need a confirmation, there it is. And so I was able to work with those beautiful wings in that space. And so continuing Kambo again, second week, right after ceremony, bam, bam, like Kambo, working with the fungi, and then Kambo. And Spirit's like, you need to be brave about posting about your journey. Like, this is who you are, and you wear the painted face, you wear the medicine, you speak your truth. And so I said, okay. And so I gifted some of the vulture feathers to a couple dear sisters in the circle the weekend with Aiylah. And then I gifted the rest, the whole plume of the tail feathers to Divine. And she was told to make a headdress. And so the headdress started to kind of come about, and she was kind of placing it around and, you know, like forming it on a wire. And a dear sister came in. I was like, we need to talk to Becky. She makes headdresses. And so this beautiful connection came in and Becky's also in my teacher training, but she's also sat with me for like at least since 2012 in circle. And I was like, yes, she has the medicine to make this headdress. And so they were working on the headdress. I'm working on my Kambo journey. Week 2 of the inoculation, Kambo was not so nice. It was intense AF. Not to scare those of you off that want to work with Kambo, but yeah, it can be. So the purge was from my soul. And my face got all puffy, what they call frog face. I felt the restriction in my throat, and I was like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? And even in the moment, I was like, this is so not pleasant. Like, why am I even doing this? Like, why am I here? It's not fun. It's not like a random, you know, a random LSD trip or something. It's not even psychedelic. Yeah, it's like, it was so intense. And so as I came back from that, and they're very short journeys, it like takes you to the very center of the deepest part of the ceremony, and then it's out. And I sat with that, and I was like, okay, I realize what comes up for people as they work with this medicine. And Spirit's like, you can hold space for this. People need this kind of healing. They need to purge this stuff out of their soul, out of their karmic lines, out of their being, out of their energetic field. And you can hold space for this, but you needed to experience what it's like. And so I posted a little bit about that using my spiritual name, and a beautiful sister, Aubrey Warren, messages me, and she's like, okay, my 40th solar return is coming. I'm doing a ritual, and I really feel like, you know, you need to be there. She and I have worked together in the yoga world, and then in all the events that I've produced with the nonprofit. We've done several of those together with the DFW Free Day of Yoga, as well as Texas Yoga Conference. And we've worked together in that space, but we've never worked together in the medicine space. But she is also on a deep medicine journey. And she said, I want you there. Hey, Sherry. So good to see you, sister. And Sherry's, she's got my back, man. She's good people. And she was present at that ceremony. And so Aubrey says to me, she's like, I want you at this ritual. And I said, I'm completely energetically purging from people that I'm not sure where they stand right now. I'm like, I'm staying completely sovereign in my own energy and completely aligned, like not 1 degree off center at this point. And I said, I don't know who's going to be there. She named 5 sisters. 2 I didn't know. 1 I met but didn't know. And I was like, I need to really sit with this. And I sat with it. 1 of the women dropped out. 2 of the women stayed in. 1, Joanna, whom Shaktified Arts I worked with right after my house fire, and she was one of my main facilitators when I brought one of my mentors in for our workshop with 30 women. Sierra Bender came in to do a Goddess to the Core workshop. And after the fire, I was like, no, we're not canceling. We have 30 women coming. We're holding space. And even Sierra was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, I'm not kidding you. We're still holding this. And Joanna, like, she fucking showed up. She showed up and she held space. And I'm like, okay, Joanna's going to be there. Yeah. Everything fell in alignment. So I show up. We held a beautiful ceremony with ecstatic dance. We did some beautiful card readings. We had an amazing altar space set, just setting space for Aubrey's intentions as she moves into this next phase of our life, and to support her, to support each other, and to step into our power. And I ended up facilitating Sananga and Hape for several of the people there, which was beautiful. Another confirmation for me to do the shamanic work, it just came, so it was so in the flow. I left. They held the rest of their ceremony. Came back to week 3, and I was going to hold a combo session to finish out my inoculation. And at that point, Divine Sight had decided she wanted to do an inoculation of her own. She felt the call. And she was going to sit on Monday. And I said, well, I'm doing my 3rd session on Monday, but something's telling me I need to move it to Wednesday. And that's what her 3rd session was going to be. And another dear sister that I'm sitting with this weekend in my training, I'm on day 2 of my training, out of day 3. And so it was that weekend, that week, literally shit hit the fan in my family. Some crazy ass energy came through in a malicious way, and I was just called to jump in and really show up. My in-laws are very traditional in their belief systems. They always think I'm crazy anyway, and I'm like, I woke up in the middle of the night and got a message, and that earlier that day I got another message from a dear friend in Fort Worth, Aiylah Nohiek. And Aiylah had done Reiki with me years and years ago. And she recalled to me as she reached out to me, she said, I saw your post on Instagram, and the work you're doing is what I need in my life right now. Will you mentor me? And I said, well, let's have a conversation. What does that look like? And she was holding this ceremony, holding a space for women. And she said, I want your guidance. I want to create a sacred container for these women. And I said, yes, of course, I'll be there. Yeah. Just let me know, how we're going to work this out. And we had some conversation. And then she said, it's going to be on the new moon. And she's like, yeah. Oh, is that the new moon? I said, yeah, that's the new moon, Monday, right? And it was like a week from Monday. Well, come to find out, it was not a week from Monday. It was that Monday. And so I had also already rescheduled my combo session. This was last week. So now we're kind of up to current day, right? This was last week. And she said that this was this week. This was last Monday. So much time has elapsed. Like, I'm in this time warp. And so Sunday night, I wake up at 3:33. Completely vivid dreams, and I was dreaming that she and I were in my mother's car, and we were driving in this desert, and she was passenger, I was driver, and then we were like in this rocky, bumpy terrain, and I wasn't sure where we were going, if we were going the right way, and like all of this muck starts covering the windshield, and I realized we're going the right way because I saw an owl pillow. It was a pillow from my bed, random. But I was like, okay, we're going the right way. But all of a sudden, this muck starts coming up, like big time, starts coming in the sunroof. And I said, Aiylah, close the sunroof. And she's like, I can't. My finger's cut. I'm bleeding. I'm trying to find a Band-Aid. And I was like, oh, God, I'm trying to mess with the controls while trying to keep control of the vehicle and trying to see because the red sand and the mud is covering the windshield. And I get the sunroof closed and we pop out at our destination. So I immediately messaged her so I could download this dream for her. And at the exact same time, which I found out that morning, she she woke up to sit with her. She woke up because her husband has his practice right before dawn. He's an Ayurveda. And she was talking to him. She said, I'm having a lot of fear about ceremony. Can you talk me through it? And so all this divine interaction happened in our dream state. And so that interaction happened. I woke up that morning and there was like this major emergency for me to go clear my family's house to help them clear this energy. And I just was like, I'm just going to start messaging what I see, because I saw something in my dream that was completely clear and it wasn't of the light. And I said, I'm going to just put all my cards on the table. They can think I'm fucking crazy or not, but I'm going to send voice messages to my sister-in-law and tell her what she needs to do. And then that morning, she's like, what, like 5 or 6 of the family members had gotten sick already. And one of them had a nosebleed. And, you know, I was like, oh my God. So I was about to go meet Divine Sight's daughter. She was going to come over to do a session with me while her mother was sitting in Kambo. She and I end up at my in-laws' house doing a complete house clearing and clearing all this energy. And being the daughter of Divine, she is just a natural medicine woman. So she just stepped right in and she was like holding space. And like, I brought my full toolkit and we're smudging. And this is my father-in-law. Like he's 84, 86, I don't know. And he's like letting me smudge him. I brought the smudge feather that I had made in Sedona years and years and years ago when my husband, my daughter, my son, my niece, who her sister was the one in the house that I was smudging, and my father, we all went to Sedona after my mother passed. And at the resort we were staying at, they had made smudge feathers as a craft. And so I had that particular feather. And I was smudging my father-in-law. And I said, Dad, I made this feather when I was with my dad in Sedona after my mom died. And it was like this full circle between the parents. So beautiful. So beautiful. And so, and then I smudged my niece and she's like, go for it. Do whatever you got to do, because I had this nosebleed and this shit's crazy, you know, and it stopped as soon as you told me what to do. And so we're going outside, clearing. And I said, we need to put salt on the doorway. It's one of the most traditional wives' tales. Well, it's real. It works. So as soon as we cleared, we put salt on the front door, salt on the main door, salt on the front door, went down outside, and we were going to put salt on the garage door. And right at that moment, Divine's daughter's sage, it's bit. We don't know what it is. A double bite between her fingers, or on 2 fingers at the same time. And then I was like, holy crap, what happened? She's like, something just stung me twice. And we look up and there's yellow jackets. But she's like, it felt like a snake because it stung at the same time. And so we go back around the front, finish clearing with the salt, and go get my father-in-law's cigar. And my niece makes a poultice with the cigar tobacco, and we place it on her finger, and meanwhile her fingers become little sausages. And I was like, holy crap. And so we're clearing the rest of the space, clearing out all this energy, burning some stuff in the backyard, and finished clearing all that out and head back to the house, did a shamanic session. And that morning, or was it that morning? I don't know. Anyway, Aiylah said the ceremony is Monday night. And I'm like, not next Monday? You mean like today? Like this within this 24-hour period? And she's like, yeah, I thought I told you. And I said, I thought you said it was on the new moon. That's next Monday. She's like, oh no, it's this Monday. And I was like, okay, well, good thing I rescheduled the combo session. And who knew I was going to be doing a whole entire house clearing? And so I went and held ceremony with her on Monday for 3 women. And the synchronicities and the magic that happened when Ali and I were working together, particularly with our voices, was something that comes from eons. Like, it comes from eons of doing this work. Our voices were predicting each other and marrying each other, and we both chant Sanskrit, and so we were chanting the chants in the medicine work, and it was like, but I was told, and I consulted with Divine, I was like, you know, if I come in and sit, I will take over her circle because the energy is going to move through me, and I don't want to do that. So what do I do? And she said, well, just go in as a sitter and let her hold the energy and you be there as support. And I said, that's the perfect solution. And we had several sitters at our ceremony as well, Barbara and Denise. And it's a beautiful space because it's so maternal. It's and usually the sitters will take a microdose, or they're really able to work with the medicine, and they don't necessarily journey. They hold the space. So that's what I did. And I was told not to touch any of my shamanic tools, especially my shamanic drum. And so, because it's just such a magic portal, but Aiylah used all my tools, and just see her move with the medicine in the work was like fantastic. It was incredible. And to witness that and to echo the voice that she was bringing through, and then to dance the dance that she was drumming, and, you know, and the women that were there were just so safely held. So it was so beautiful. And that brings me to this weekend, which I sat with Kambo for my third inoculation on Wednesday. And Kambo was kind. Tressa she was the one that's serving me. She's the one that's teaching through the school that Jess has built. And she said, well, the frog wants you to come back. And I was like, oh, thank you for being kind, you know, especially like being in ceremony, like with Aubrey, and then with the house clearing, and then the medicine circle. And then I was like, I just need to breathe, you know. I was super grateful. And Divine didn't even purge. She ended up singing and purging in a song, like she was singing in her purge bucket. It was it was so incredible. And Tressa's like, I'm going to add that to my list of purges, like song, you know. Didn't even know that was a thing. And so Friday, I sat with the people that had come in from all over the country. There's 6 doing this training, and it's so beautiful. So sat with them, and we did our first ceremony as practitioners. And Tressa facilitated. It seems like it's so long ago. It was just yesterday. That's why I had to tell you this stuff now, because it leaves so quickly that the only way for me to share it with you is to tell you live. It's so in the moment. But I know so many of you are like curious about what my journey has been and what's going on. Like all these shifts and all these things are happening, and you see these random posts that have my spiritual name, Aiylah Valkyrie, in it. And so nobody in that circle except for Tressa knows me as, everyone knows me as Aiylah. And it feels really good to be held in that space by being honored by my spiritual name. And so my dad, he crossed over 5 years ago. And on Monday, when I was kind of laying out all my tools for Aiylah to use, because they were going to be on her mesa, on her altar, not on mine, I found this beautiful Celtic tiny little knife. And the tiny little knife is a letter opener, but it has a Celtic like inscription and a little emerald on it. And it was my dad's. And I was like, what the heck? How did this get in my medicine bag? And hey, Sean, so good to see you. And it's normally in my shamanic kit, and I hadn't really used it for anything. But it's the perfect knife for Kambo, because on Kambo you have to scrape the medicine off the stick and then place it in the gates in little points. And so, sorry, there's a message coming up. So I was like, oh, yay, it's my dad's knife. And so I knew it was in there from Monday, so I got to use it this weekend. And I'm going to be using that knife for my preparations and my serving. So yesterday was super beautiful. I did post about that, and came home and floated in the pool. I've been doing a lot of float therapy in my pool and watching the stars. Sitting with the hape at sunset has brought me into such a communion with the plant medicines. Hape is such a beautiful medicine. If you're curious about it, message me. Same thing with sananga. They're used to open your heart, your crown, your third eye, uncalcify your pineal, to really help you to fully wake up and to remember. That's why we're here. We're here to remember. And so many people are beginning to remember, and they're like, just people are messaging me, people are messaging Aiylah, people are messaging Aubrey, Divine, like everyone's coming together in this, like, I see all of the sisters coming in and coming back around, like ones we haven't heard from for years are like, hey, I'm just thinking of you, or I'm holding space for you, or ones that you've seen posting on social media and they're like, hey, we need to chat, like now's the time to talk, you know, and having those beautiful connections. Divine said it's roll call. This is literally spiritual roll call right now. Like, are you here? Yeah, I'm here. Are you here? I see you. Yeah, I see you. And I see you because I know you're watching. And so day 2 was today. And I had to get up extra early because I had to make some real food, because like literally I cannot live another day on hummus and carrots. Like, I need some food. When you do this work, you have to have real food. And so I was like, okay, most people in this circle were vegan. So I made some amazing lentils, which Ananda gave the recipe to Divine. This morning I messaged her, I'm like, give me your lentil recipe. I need some real food. And so brought that. So glad I did. Today was the day of self-administration. Since I'm a yogi, I can bring my foot up here and show you. But so here's my foot. You can see the spots. These were practice spots that we practiced with yesterday. This is where my friend practiced on me to do the spots. These are called gates, and then we put dragon's blood on top of it to seal it off after. These did not have any medicine, but I had previously had 7 done here for the chakras. This is the traditional point for women. Today was the day that it was self-facilitation. These 4 were self-facilitated. And so the medicine is, oh, and while I have my foot up in the air, I treated myself with a pedicure. See, look, you're so cute after today because we ended early. Yes, I'm still super girly. I can burn myself and put medicine on, but I'm still super girly. So the burns, that's the gateway. Those are the gates. Those are the opening. It's just the dermis, and then that leaves the opening for the medicine, and then the medicine are put on in points on those gates, and then that's when everything happens. So if you want to learn more about that, you know, I'm happy to share with you what that experience is like, what the benefits are, what it looks like, and facilitate for you if you're coming to Texas. We have our beautiful Yoga for Love studio cabin here, which is also my private space for private sessions, as well as where we hold ceremony and our yoga retreats. But today was the day that we asked to be a Kambo facilitator, to serve the medicine. We asked the spirit of the frog, and Kambo Sapo was kind again today, and it was a pure yes immediately, obviously. I didn't really even have to ask. So yeah, it's just been like this whirlwind of moving through and continuing to hold space for all of my tribe that's in my training, and to share with them the opportunity to go deeper, to watch my tribe, my team that's coaching my tribe, rise up. I'm like, yesterday they held a team meeting without me. You know, I mean, it just makes my heart so full to see them stepping in so I can do this work and bring this medicine back, you know. And so day 3 is tomorrow. This is where first day that I get to serve the medicine. So honored, so honored. And I've chosen my partner. She's here from Ohio, and it's her first day to serve the medicine as well. We're partnering it up. And yeah, so that's what's happening. Our second level is in November. But currently right now we are in an enrollment period for our Yoga for Love online training programs. So if you're considering moving into the path of self-empowerment, of embodying your, hey Capri, oh Goddess Capri, yes sister, she's one of my Aya sisters. Oh, perfect timing. I was just telling the whole story about the weekend of Aiylah and my crazy vulture. And she's on a journey following spirit around the country, just bringing her gifts and her medicine. And I think you just got back from Colorado. Correct me if I'm wrong. But so just to witness, oh, thank you so much, Divine says, so honored to witness your journey and walk beside you in this path. Oh, thank you, dear sister. Such an honor, and you're such a mirror. And all of you who are watching, we are all mirrors to each other. And if you're ready to step into this path, you know, it might be the path of yoga. So yeah, this is why we're here. My phone just died, so everyone on Facebook is like, that's the end. But yeah, so we're ready to receive you into this tribe. If you're ready to step into your power, just message my team. It's yogaforlove.com/discovery, and we'll book a chat with you. If you want to specifically talk about the plant medicine journey, go to yogaforlove.com. Under the retreats, click on the plant medicine, and on that page there's a specific form to fill out to get deeper into some of the psychoactive medicines in that particular sacred medicine page. There's also a spot there to book a chat specifically about the plant medicine journey, and that's under the retreat tab at yogaforlove.com. It's yoga with the number 4. So I look forward to whenever you see this. It's the perfect time. I'm currently recording this, and it is July 17th, 2020. Is it the 18th? I think it's the 18th now. But so if you're catching this in the future, who knows where we've been since I've recorded this. But right now is the perfect time to make that connection. And so I look forward to hearing from you and seeing from you. Comment in the thread. Thank you so much for being on live with me. I love you so much, and looking forward to honoring you in your path on your journey as well. And I'll continue to bring my blog back up. Really didn't blog all through COVID with my Rhythms of the Goddess. So this is kind of like the new version of my vlog. So here I am showing up. Love you. Bye.